for joining this presentation today that we are going to show you. It's going to be advanced training on our single zones and multi-zones residential products. My name is Paul D'Souza, or Paulo D'Souza. I'm with Panasonic for 6 years now, and I've been doing this on a weekly, monthly basis. Thank you, Fallon, and your team for this 2-hour advanced training session. Thank you very much once again, all you guys who have joined in. Happy New Year. Today we have 2 segments. I will start with single zone. We'll talk about single zone, and then the next segment would be multi-zone. After we are done with this training, I will take all your questions. So while we are browsing, surfing through the slides, you can make your notes. You can write down your questions and keep them for later. Okay? Thank you once again for joining, and I'm going to start. All right. So for the single zone, we have the SCS, that means the indoor unit. The CU stands for the outdoor unit. We have the 9,000, 12, 15, 18, and 24,000 BTU on the WKUA series. This WKUA series is our new product that was released last year. It has the nanotechnology function. I will talk about that later as we move along. Then in my next segment, we'll talk about the multi-zones, okay? We have 2, 3, 4, and 5, which we'll talk deeper into that. We will dive deeper into that. The exterior single zone E series is the RKUA that ends with the RKUA. We will talk about that as well. These RKUAs can be installed as a single zone as well as our multi-zone, okay? But the WKUA at the moment is strictly single zone. Then we have the RE Pro Series. RE Pro Series is our builder model, or fighter model, we can call it. Okay, so what do we have? What does our unit feature? For the new unit, which is the WKUA over here, this one, WKUA, those units have the NanoX technology. We'll talk about what is NanoX technology. It has built-in Wi-Fi. Obviously, it comes with a wireless remote controller. And if your client or customer or homeowner is asking for a wired, yes, you can. You can provide them with a wired remote, but that's optional, which means you will have to buy it separately. The E series that ends with the RKUA has the EcoNavi function. EcoNavi sensor that senses movement. Based on the movement, the unit will ramp up or ramp down. The compressor will ramp up or ramp down based on the activity in that room, if only you selected EcoNavi. These models, they don't have a built-in Wi-Fi, but can be connected to an optional Wi-Fi, which at the moment we are using Intersys. So you can buy it separately if the homeowner is asking for Wi-Fi and connect to the indoor unit. Our easy error code retriever is one of the best. It's so easy, it's so simple. Why I put the word easy there? It's because the homeowner, if you get a call from a homeowner, you can always ask them to pull what error code the unit is throwing at. That way you can prepare yourself, maybe to take some parts with you, or maybe to prepare yourself how to troubleshoot it, or read the manual, and so forth. The NanoX technology and the SKUA series and the ducted unit have the auxiliary heat function. What does this mean? It means that if you are hooked up to a baseboard heater or a hot water coil and stuff like that, the indoor unit will give out 12 volts DC when the heat pump, when the compressor outside cannot keep up due to maybe possible a minor issue, a minor error or maybe the ambient has gone below minus 15 Fahrenheit. Okay, let's talk about the Nano X function unit. The Nano X, which is our brand new model, our brand new series that was released last year. It has the capability of getting rid of all the viruses, the bacteria, the mold, all odors, and pollen, as long as you select that function. So if you look at your remote controller, you will see a bunch of options there. Hit the Nano X, and a blue light will come on, and the function will be activated. Nano X technology brings natural cleaning properties of hydroxyl radicals to indoor environment. It can attack or it inhibits allergens, bacteria, viruses up to 99.9%. Recently, there was a video on YouTube talking about this feature, and I don't want to promote it at the moment because our Department of Health is still working on that. But they were talking great things about this feature with our current enemy right now, which is the pandemic that's going on. It can help in some way, but I am not promoting it at the moment because I don't have the green light. Okay, they have changed a little bit with the older series compared to this new one. The space over there is minimized. However, it has the same energy efficiency, just like the older models. The older models was a little bit broader at the top, but now they have reduced it, and it looks much slimmer, and it looks more beautiful. So that's how the unit will work. So again, guys, especially our installers, keep enough of room at the top. 4 inches is what it's calling for, but if you can have more than 4, that's even better. Because remember, at the top over there is where your intake sensor is. So if you're going to get heat trapped at the top over there, this unit is going to go to sleep or stay in standby for most of the time, while the homeowner is complaining that he or she is feeling cold. We have the swing flaps. The swing flaps that are horizontal as well as vertical. Vertical, up and down, horizontal, left and right. So everybody talks inverter technology, inverter technology, inverter technology. What is this inverter technology about? Well, it's a microprocessor in there, inside that PCB over there, that is embedded. That microprocessor is just like our brain. So when our brain gets the information what to do, we act. So same thing with this microprocessor. It gets the information from the sensors, the indoor sensors, the outdoor sensors, depending on what the sensors are telling and what your remote controller setting is, that compressor is going to work accordingly. If the sensors are telling the compressor, there's no much load, then the compressor will run very slowly. Okay, this is a very simple explanation, a simple way of explaining how a microprocessor compressor works, or how an inverter technology operates. Okay, it's a very simple way of explaining. When there's less load, the load is you. Okay, when there's less load, the intake sensor senses not much heat in terms of cooling, so the compressor will go slow. Okay, when the intake thermistor or the intake sensor or room temperature sensor recognizes there's more load, then it will send the information to that microprocessor. That microprocessor will send the signal to the compressor. Hey, buddy, please ramp up, man. We need more cooling, or we need more heating. So these sensors are very critical, are very important to be in a good operating state, so that it sends a signal to the board, to the microprocessor, and the microprocessor sends the signal to the compressor. Sometimes you may call me and ask me, hey Paul, how come the compressor is running like crazy when the room is nice and satisfied? So there could be many things. It could be the sensor, or it could be some kind of opening, cold air coming from outside, and fooling, giving wrong information to the sensor that makes the compressor run the opposite of what the sensor is telling it. Basically, this is how our unit looks like outside. That's the inverter rectifier circuit board, power transistor, which is the IPM, intelligent power module, and that's our compressor. So all these two items along with the control board comes in one piece. It comes in one piece to drive the compressor as well as the fan. AC voltage comes in, it's converted into DC. DC goes through the IPM module PCB. It converts from single phase to three phase, and that's how you run you will run your compressor. This compressor is is three phase, running at a balanced voltage. So when the compressor is running, rest assured between UV and WV, VU, the voltage has to be balanced. If the voltage is not balanced, the compressor will not run. Then you will have to do your troubleshooting, which we'll talk about it later. And it could be the compressor or it could be the board. It all depends. That's the slide that shows how the compressor runs between U and V, V and W, W and U, with the rotation based on the compressed vapor. Okay, on that PCB is just one item. Okay, so when you have a problem with the outdoor PCB, it's just one complete PCB, especially on our single zone. On our multi-zone, there are two to three PCBs over there. But now we're talking about a single zone. There is only one PCB outside, and there is only one PCB inside. What are the control PCBs? Okay, that's what they are showing there is the microprocessor. It gets all the information from various components like thermistors, sensors, pressure sensors, you name it. Based on that information, it works accordingly. And we don't like wasting time, especially when you're on a job site and especially when it's very, very cold. If we find the problem is with the outdoor PCB, you just replace it. So everybody talks about inverter technology as opposed to as compared to a standard conventional central system. Well, everyone knows when a central system starts, it goes straight to 60 hertz and it runs. It runs. When satisfied, it comes down. All that gap over there is total loss. So that's why we use the inverter technology. This inverter technology, the compressor will ramp up and down based on your load. Okay, it's going to start at a very smooth start and continue and try and maintain a comfort level in your house or in your bedroom. So as I mentioned earlier, we have the E series that has the sensor, that has the EcoNavi sensor. Okay, what it does, that if that mode is selected, if the EcoNavi mode is selected, which with other competitors, they call it the IC sensor and other kind of sensors. We call it the EcoNavi sensor. It is based truly on body temperature. So there is a lens inside there. It's called the Fresnel lens. Okay, that Fresnel lens will measure the movement, your movement, if you're exercising, if you're working out, or whatever. It will measure your body temperature and activity. Based on that, the veins, the swing flap, the veins will direct just to you. In that way, it will save a lot of energy. It will save a lot of hydro. And when there is no movement, it's going to drop 2 degrees in heat mode or 2 degrees higher in cool mode to shut the unit off and maintain good saving. There is a control board inside, a minor control board built in that lens. So if anything goes wrong, which till today, 6 years and running, I have not received a single defective sensor. the 2 degrees that I was talking to you about, this is what it explains. If you read the user manual, it tells you exactly how this function works. So in a nutshell, we all talk about 2 degrees when it's absent and 1 degree higher when there is low activity. When there is normal or high activity, it will work the way it's supposed to work to meet the target temperature or the set temperature. Okay? So when you go to sleep, if you leave Econavi function overnight, and when you go to sleep, it's going to drop 2 degrees lower in heat mode. So auto mode, many homeowners prefer using auto mode. Auto mode to me is not a big. I'm not a big fan of auto mode, but again, if the homeowner is insisting, no doubt, they can use auto mode. Auto mode is only applicable in single zones. With multi-zones, you cannot use auto mode. Only single zones, okay, guys? So what it does, it will run in cooling, for example. If it runs in cooling and the temperature drops 2 to 3 degrees lower than the set point, it will switch over to heat. Now, who wants that? Who wants to cool the room for a few hours and then heat the room for another few hours? To me, that's a waste of energy. But it's a good function, or it's a good feature, especially during shoulder seasons, like in fall or in spring, you know. So again, the feature is there. It's up to each one of us to use it. In heat mode, when you're using auto function, like the auto fan speed or the auto louvers, the fan speed cannot be adjusted. Just remember that, okay? In heat mode, when you choose auto, the fan will run based on the temperature of the coil. So when you get a call from the homeowner complaining that I can't set my fan speed and stuff like that, tell them to put it in manual mode. Okay, tell them to put it in manual mode. That way they can change the temperature. They can change the fan speed depending on what they want, higher or lower. That's the vane position during auto swing. Then we have this compressor of ours, very smooth, very quiet. Basically, what it does, when you turn it on for the first time, the compressor will run for about less than 3 minutes at a very lower frequency, and after 3 minutes, it's going to pick up its frequency to the maximum for at least for the first 10 minutes to give you enough heat or enough cooling to keep you going. Then after 10 minutes, the compressor is going to start slowing down and maintain a comfort level, a comfort zone. So if you compare to our competitors, we have a very positive and a better response speed from our compressors, all models across. It will start smoothly, it will pick up speed, and in 10 minutes time, it's going to slow down and maintain cooling or heating.
Paolo, your presentation went down.
Okay. I hear it. Okay.
This is John. How may I help you?
There, okay, you just had it back.
Good call.
Oh boy.
Uh-huh.
Sorry about that.
Sorry everyone about the technical difficulties. We should have it back up in a few seconds.
You can see it now?
No, do not see it yet.
Nothing?
No, I just see your folder with the presentation names.
Okay. Now?
Yes, we're back.
How about now?
Perfect. Can everyone hear?
They don't want to hold price for it.
All right, guys. I stopped here at Econavi. So 2 degrees is the minimum. So in cooling, it will go 2 degrees higher or 2 degrees lower in heating when there is no activity. Okay. So Econavi function is a good function. I would strongly advise you to use it if you pick that model, the E series. Okay. Auto mode, we spoke about it. Let me go to where we stopped, where we got cut off. Yeah. So I was talking to you about the compressor. Our compressor has got a unique a technology where it will start at a very smooth start and go to a maximum frequency for the next 10 minutes. So a total of 7 minutes of increased frequency and 3 minutes of smooth start. Once it gets to that 10 minutes timing, it's going to slow down, and it will slow down and maintain a very good frequency for very good comfort level. That's the beauty of our compressors. And you might find our compressors in other manufacturers as they prefer using our fan motors as well as our compressors. As I mentioned earlier, we have option for wide remote controllers. So if your customer is looking for a wide remote controller, we have an option. You can use that. It's under CNRMT. RMT stands for remote. It comes with a cable, so you're all good to go. If you want to extend it, no problem. Just extend it. It has all the features just like the wireless remote controller. It has the weekly timer, temperature up and down, swing, fan, error code, you name it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the
Presentation
installation
went down
information.
again. Hello.
It's the whole assembly.
Okay, I hear you.
Not about everything.
Are you getting it back up? There we go. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Paolo.
Thank you. All right, guys. Sorry for the interruption. I think there is some kind of issues going on, but we'll get it going. So let's talk about a little bit about installation. I prefer not to talk too much about installation because you guys are the pros. Mostly people or technicians find it very interesting when we talk about repairing or servicing the unit. But let me talk a little bit about installation where we have issues, ongoing issues with guys around the country. And I will just remind you not to forget about these tips, okay? So basically, you will go into a home when you get a call. You will do your load calculation, please. Then you will pick up a model. Once you pick up a model, you will look for a good location. This is very important, guys. Pick up a very good location so that the homeowner doesn't get any cold draft or blowing hot air or cold air straight on the person's head or body. So please try and get the correct location. Then when you're installing this back plate, we call it the fixing installation plate or the back plate, you can call it. Make sure you have enough of screws. Make sure you have enough of fissures, and make sure it's nice and firm. That way you will avoid rattling. And make sure that your dry wall is completely square, nice and flat. Failure to do that, my friends, less than 9 months, you will get a call, guys complaining about the fan motor or the blower wheel making a lot of noise. That's because of this backplate not being straight. So please make sure your backplate is nice and firm. Then your outdoor unit location. Pick up a nice location, against strong winds if you're living in the cold zone areas like Chicago and other places. So please pick up a nice area for the outdoor unit. That way it doesn't have to go into defrost every hour. Then we have the piping preparation, power supply. Okay, make a nice hole. Make sure you have it at the slant here. You see the slant? Make sure you give it enough of slope so that you have enough of draining. Piping connections, gas leak, all you know what to do about this. Okay, prepare yourself. Due to heavier indoor unit up to 4 kilograms, which is around 8 pounds. You know, make sure you have enough of screws, fishers. Don't use the one that comes with the unit. You know, that's not strong enough. Go to Home Depot or Lowe's or any building material store and get the proper ones. You know, for the outdoor section, make sure you have enough of ventilation. They say 99.9% of problems are caused by installers. If I'm an installer, I get offended, right? So please try and prove them wrong. Try and prove them wrong. You know, install it correctly, give enough of circulation, size the unit correctly. You know, depending on where the unit is going to go, 9,000, 12,000, 15, 18,000 is a little bigger for a home. But you never know. If it's calling for 18,000, might as well install it. That's where the slope that is needed for your drain, for your condensate drain to go out freely. Always remove burrs, guys. Always. No rush. There is no need to rush. If you rush, you will be called back. So please practice what you know, what you learned in school, you know, and what you keep learning. Always remove the burrs. Cut once you cut your copper pipe to the correct length and size. Give it a good flare. Give it a good flare. You never have leaks. Always use proper tools. You know. Always use proper tools. Never do this. Never do this. If your control wire is short, go and get a new control wire. The moment you join these 3 wires coming from in to out, which is called the communication wire, you will always have problems. You will always have, at least once a week or twice a week, they will call you with H11, which is the communication error. So please do not join these wires. Pressurize your system. Always use nitrogen. Now don't over pressurize it, you know. For a small system, 200-300 psi is more than enough. Why I'm saying 200-300? I know pressure is pressure. 400 is pressure. 300 is pressure. But why I'm saying lower pressure on a lower system? Because of these valves here. You see the service valve? The moment you give it too much of pressure, it may push the rubber seal inside, and some of the R410 will come out. Some of the R410 will escape. And you don't want that to escape, because what's going to happen, I will show you in my next few slides that are coming, what's going to happen. When you're vacuuming, you will run away with some of your nitrogen and some of your R410. When you release all the nitrogen and you start vacuuming, whatever was there will go away. And now the system, instead of having 3 pounds, it's going to have 2-point-something pounds. The system will run well. Maybe if you're in summertime, summer season, no problem. But when it comes to winter time, especially when it gets very, very cold, you will have issues. You will have freezing issues. You will have a defrost cycle that will not complete successfully. After you're done with your system, after installing your system, if you're running it in cooling, always remember the temperature difference between intake and discharge. Always try and keep it around 7, 8, 9 degrees. You're good. And 12 degrees in heating. So it all depends on area to area. Meaning, if the fan speed is too high, you might get a bigger delta T. If the fan speed is at medium speed, you will be okay. So please try and get these values for making sure that the system is working the way it's supposed to. On the suction side, when you're doing cooling, it's always between 130 to 150. Unlike other manufacturers, they operate their system at 110 to 120, 110 to 100, I don't know. But our systems will always operate around 130 to 150. Lower than that, chances are you might be having the system low on refrigerant. Now check. Maybe it came with less refrigerant, I don't know. Or maybe it escaped during vacuuming. Or maybe there's a leak. Service information. This is your indoor unit, guys. This is your indoor unit. When you open up this screw, you will see you will see a terminal block with 3 screws for your L1, for your number 1, number 2, and number 3, and ground. That's your communication wire between indoor and outdoor. Then we have the cross flow fan settings. When you are trying to adjust for whatever reason, maybe it's too bouncy or making a little bit of noise, or you want to replace it for whatever reason. There is a screw there. You open it, lift this coil a little bit higher, and it slides out. Shove in the new blower wheel, tighten your screw, and you're up and running. Before you close everything, you can run it open like that. Run it. Once you're happy, then you can close the cover, and you're up and running again. And if you want to change the motor, you got to remove the blower wheel. Remove the blower wheel, the motor comes out, replace the motor, and put it back. I can't remember how many motors we have changed so far, maybe 1 or 2 in all these 6 years at Panasonic. So our motors are pretty good. So please make sure your backplate is in good shape. Make sure your backplate is fixed to the wall, nice and straight, no vibration. You will never have issues. You will never have to replace the fan motor. Vacuuming. Vacuuming, guys, is very important. Vacuum it until you get below 500 microns. Leave it there for some time. Make sure your microns are not going too high. And that's it. Release your gas and test it. How to check error code? It's very easy, guys. We have the easiest way of retrieving error codes. I've worked with all these top manufacturers, and I can tell you, we have the easiest way of retrieving error codes. And that's why I mentioned to you, if you get a phone call from your customer, ask them to pull that error code. At least you have you have a place to start. If they tell you it's H11 or H97, you know what to do. For example, H97 is fan motor, outdoor fan motor. So at least if it's a 2-hour drive, you can go there with an outdoor fan motor, or maybe even the outdoor PCB, depending on the situation. So how you do that? It's very simple. When the timer light is blinking, definitely you have an error code. If the timer light is steady, the homeowner, for some reason, put the unit in timer settings. Okay, there's a difference between blinking and steady. And this power light, when this power light is blinking, the unit is in defrost cycle or standby mode. So this power light, when it blinks, there is no error code, guys. Only when this timer blinks, there is an error code. So please remember that. When the power light blinks, you are either in standby mode or defrost cycle. When the timer light blinks, you are in an error code state. Pull the error code, find what's the error code, and fix it. How will you pull the error code? Very simple. Take the remote controller, use a toothpick or a pin, a thick pin that goes into the check slot. It goes into the check hole, press and hold for 5 seconds. What you're going to see this on the right side here, 2 dashes, okay? Not with the temperature button up and down, but with the timer button up and down. Scroll. You will scroll until you hear the indoor unit beep. It will beep 3 beeps, like tit 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 or tit 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 tit. When you hear that beep, hold on, stop, and look at your remote controller screen, and it will tell you what error code you have. If you're not sure of, maybe let's say it stopped at H20 or H11 or whatever, go through all the error codes once again. Even if you want to do it twice or thrice, no problem. Once you get the error code, stop there. If you are not the technician, the homeowner will tell you what it is. If you are the technician, you will check what the error code is. And guys, use our app. We have an app. The app is called Panasonic Air Conditioner Quick Service Guide. Panasonic Air Conditioner Quick Service Guide. Download it. It has the best app ever. I use it all the time when you guys call me. Anytime you guys call me with an error code, I use that app. So please download it. So you will scroll with the timer button, and when you hear the beep, that's the error code. And for whatever reason, you don't have a phone, you don't have an app, whatever, all our error codes are listed on the right-hand side of the unit. On this curve over here, they are all the error codes. Then when you fix the error and you're done, it's nice, or it's good practice to erase the error code, so that next time when somebody else comes, that somebody does not pick your error code, because our unit stores at least one error code, and that error code is the latest error code. So it's a good idea, it's a very good idea to erase the error code. How you erase it? You open up the lid, you press the button. During standby, you press and hold for 5 seconds. Once you hear a beep, go to your remote controller, face the unit, and press the check button. Once you hear another beep, and your error code is erased. So the guys who have not seen our Nano X remote controller, this is how it looks like. That's the check button over there at the bottom. That's your Nano X button, your mode to select cool, heat, whatever, on and off, temperature up and down. And this is the up and down button that I was talking to you about when you're scrolling through search for the error code. So you press and hold the check, you will get the 2 dashes, scroll over here. Many guys, they scroll over here, they get nothing, they call me and they say, Paul, there's nothing. There's no error code. How did you do it? Oh, I did like that and I pressed the temperature up and down. No, not the temperature, guys. It's the timer up and down, okay? These are the tools that they're showing what you need to carry. I don't have to tell you guys. You have a truck. You have a truck filled with tools, the best tools in town. Always use your spirit level, tape measure for your backplate and stuff, make sure it's nice and straight. You don't want water leaks. I'm just going a little bit faster because there are some things that are not that important. So I'm just going to focus on things which are important so that we are good for 2 hours session, right? So look at this outdoor unit. If you have a job that has 3 to 4 to 5 outdoor units on the roof, always pay attention to how you place them. That option there, the way they have placed them, it's not a good application. The units are going to overheat. Always remember, control wiring is your big enemy. Always control wiring is your big enemy on a brand new startup. on a brand new installation. I get calls almost every month, at least once or twice. I'm getting an H11 code. I ask them, is it a brand new install? Yes. You have crossed the wires. No, Paul. I swear on all my gods, I have not crossed the wire. Send me a picture. They send me a picture. Right enough, they cross the wire. Then who they blame? Oh, my apprentice. They blame the apprentice. So no need to blame anybody, guys. Just fix it. And guess what? When you cross wires with other manufacturers, you could be in trouble. You could lose the control board. Thankfully, Panasonic is not that one. You will still have a good board. The board will still survive. But that doesn't mean that you do that mistake. Avoid joining wires, guys. Never join wires. I mentioned that earlier. Make sure it's a one length, a full length from in to out. Disconnect to your outer unit, and from disconnect to your breaker panel if you are doing the wiring. Never do this. Never do this. One guy called me and said, "Hey, Paul, you told me not to do this. I had no choice. I did it. And guess what? The whole unit is running." I said, "Just hold on. Give it another week or so. You'll be called." And the guy called me after a month or so. He said, "Yeah, I had several calls. So please do not join this wire because they are talking all the time between indoor and outdoor. The moment they get here, there's kind of a resistance here that drops off the unit. And then you have an H11 code." All these are not required. And that could lead into this problem. That's a deadly issue there. So please don't join any cables, any wires. Benders. Always use benders. The homeowner will appreciate your job, and they will tell other homeowners and other homeowners and other homeowners, and now you're growing your business because you did a neat job. You use the correct tools, guys. Don't use your knee or your elbow. Please. I know you guys are 40 years in the trade, 30 years in the trade, 20, 10. You have so much experience with pipes, but still, these benders, they have a reason why they are there in the industry. Use them. Your job will be appreciated. Use them correctly. Don't pinch them. Look what happened. The guy was using, he thought he was using his experience, but look what happened. Then they call me. There is a kink inside. They call me, "Paul, brand new install. The unit is shutting down." Guess what? You have a problem there. The homeowner doesn't want to fix it. It's a new system. I have to replace it. What can I say? He's telling me my pipes are good. Everything is good. I said, "Okay, replace." Based on this problem, I think the outer unit is messed up. But before changing the outer unit, guys, flush the system. Flush the pipes with the indoor unit and see what happens. And that's where I catch them. That's where I find these problems. Not many, but I had a few over the years. So please, make sure you use the right tools. Flaring tool. Flaring tool is so important, guys. If you're not good in flaring, just keep practicing every day. Every day when you get to the office, if you have time, in the car, wherever, if you're not driving, practice. You'll become the best flaring guy in town. Really, I'm not kidding. Brazing. I'm sure everybody goes through a brazing certification or class in your area, like here, what we do. And you need to set the flame, the correct flame. And also, when you're using brazing, always remember to use nitrogen to get rid of this oxidization. So at least few ounces, few ounces, you flush while you're brazing, you'll be good. I mean, not ounces, PSI. 5, 10, 15 PSI, you're good. Slow flow. You know what I'm talking about. So make sure it's nice and clean. Look at the difference without nitrogen and with nitrogen. Then we have high humid areas. So always remember, when you're working on a system and you're on a day where it's high humidity, make sure you use good nitrogen to flush your pipes if they were left open. And once you close them, give it extra hour or extra half an hour for vacuuming. There's no harm, guys. You don't want the system to be contaminated, and then you get all kinds of problems. You get freezing problems in heat mode. You get compressor abnormal noise in cooling or heating. So please try your best to get rid of all the moisture in the system for a longer life. Last time we had a session, a guy asked me how long can a system run with no issues before it breaks down. It's estimated at least 10 years. 10 years, the system should run problem-free. That's a system they're running with trouble because it's clogged. The compressor is not happy. It's overheating because it's slightly clogged. I see many guys don't use, they use this. That's not good, you know. I know you are so experienced. I know, guys, you are so experienced, but try your best to use these torque wrenches. They give you the best newtons per minute. Pounds per minute. Foot-pounds. You know, apply good pressure, good amount of pressure. I know it's expensive, but it can last forever if it's maintained well. And then our installation manual have all the values. For 1/4 inch, you have the 18, 3/8 you have 42, 1/2 inch 55, 5/8 65. Whatever unit you use, it's easily to convert. This is another slide showing you example of leak, dust, and moisture in the system. So again, nitrogen and deep vacuum will always clear all these issues. Use proper gauges. Don't mix gauges. You know how to do that. Don't mix gauges of 410 with 22. If at all you have 22 still in the market, or 410 with another type of gas. So guys, I put here 540, but this is more for the big system, a very big system. You don't have to put 540 on this small system. 200, 300 PSI is enough. Unless you are really, really not sure of something. You're really, really not sure of some kind of joint you made, then 400 is okay. Again, run the system, check the performance, check the intake, check the exhaust, discharge and intake. You know, cooling 8 degrees. If it plays around 7, 8, 9, it's okay. And 12, 13, 14 is okay. But in that range, not a huge delta T, you know. If you have a huge delta T, then we have a problem. Check your running amp. I'm not a big fan when I go to a job site. The last thing I want to do is hook up my gauges. I hate that. I prefer using my amp probe for amps reading and multimeter for checking voltages and DC communication voltages. I don't use an amp meter to check DC communication because sometimes it can give me wrong readings. Those are your pressures there in cooling and in heating. Anywhere below that, you have a problem. Always insulate well, whether you are in a high humid area or not high humid area. Insulate those pipes well. That way you don't have any leaks. Always use your body harness when you're working on high-rise buildings. Please, we don't want trouble. You see this picture I took out? I got a picture from a contractor last week. This system was low on refrigerant. So what was happening? When the defrost cycle was performing, at the very bottom, it would not defrost because there was no enough of heat coming out of that refrigerant during defrost. So I asked him to recover, do a deep vacuum, recharge, and no problem. That's a single zone unit. So if you have a situation like this, always check your refrigerant charge. If the whole coil was frozen, then I would say the unit did not go into defrost. But if I have a situation like this, it's a different story altogether. So the unit was defrosting, but not completely. So as soon as he recovered the gas and everything was good. Everything was perfect.
Hi, Paolo.
Okay.
Before we move on, we have a couple of questions.
Okay.
One question was, always check refrigerant, how?
Always check refrigerant how? Always check refrigerant when you're running the system. Let's talk about it when it's a brand new system. When it's a brand new system, I know many guys remove the refrigerant. That's fine. Sorry. They remove their gauges. That's fine. Hook up your amp meter. Run it for 10, 15 minutes. Make sure you're getting enough of running amp based on the nameplate. Make sure you're getting good delta T between in and out. Now, this is a brand new system. Let's say you're going to a job site and it's been running for a year or so, or maybe 2 months, or maybe 3 months, or maybe 10 years. And you are thinking that the system is low on refrigerant. First thing, hook up your amp meter. If your amp meter is reading low and the system is in test run meaning the system is running at a maximum frequency and your amp meter is reading low, definitely you are low on refrigerant. Then hook up your gauges and see if your gauge is reading low. Let's say in heat mode, you're running below 300 or below 350. I would strongly advise you to recover all the refrigerant. When you're recovering the refrigerant, weigh it, and you will definitely see your low. And once you see your low, don't use that refrigerant again. Do a deep vacuum or check for leaks with nitrogen, no leaks, deep vacuum, and charge in new, fresh refrigerant. Don't use the old one that you removed, please.
All right, Paolo, another question. Someone asked, on a MultiZone, I have a wall unit that won't run. The line set blows with nitrogen, but do you think I could have a kink, thus presenting good refrigerant flow? No trouble codes come up.
Yeah, in most cases, when you have a refrigerant issue, there is no an error code. But the guy who asked you that question, is other units running? And if other units are running, only that unit is not running, then I would suspect the electronic expansion valve outside not supplying refrigerant to the unit. Because remember, when you pressurize the system with nitrogen, the nitrogen did not go into the outer unit because the outer unit valves were closed. It went to the inner unit, you checked for leaks, everything was okay, you remove the nitrogen, you vacuum the system, and then you release the gas. And then you turn on the unit, but the unit is not running. And when you say the unit is not running, I'm guessing you mean that the unit is not heating or cooling, right? And if that's the case, that means that the electronic expansion valve is the first suspect outside. So you need to do a bunch of troubleshooting before you get to a conclusion.
All right, if there's no other questions, we will be moving on.
Okay.
Pal, are you pulling up your next presentation? Perfect.
You see anything here?
Not yet. It should be coming up in about a minute.
Are you seeing this slide?
No, not yet.
Now?
Yes.
Now, Jay?
Yep. Perfect.
All right, guys. So for the guys who ask me questions, you can ask me follow-up questions at the end of this segment. Now we're going to talk about multi-zone. And the multi-zone that I picked up is the 5-zone. Okay? We will talk about the 5-zone, but in reality, it's the same story with with 2-zone, 3-zone, 4-zone, and 5-zone. And then we will talk about error codes, troubleshooting. The error codes that we are going to talk about, it's the same error code applies to single zone, with exception of 2 error codes, F17 and H39. We'll talk about this later. F17 and H39 are error codes related to multi-zone. The rest are all the same for the single and for the multi. So this is our model, CU5E36QBU-5. -5 means -5.
Pal,
You can operate down to -5.
Pal, we're still on the first slide.
What's that?
We just see air conditioner technical seminar.
Oh, something is low then.
You are not in
You
presentation.
still can see the same thing?
Yes. Okay. You're not in presentation mode yet.
Okay.
The presentation went down. I would just bring it back up and put it into
Okay.
mode.
How about now? What you can see?
I can see all the PowerPoint slides. It's not in presentation mode.
Anything?
You have to pull
Can
it
you
back
see?
up. I just see your files.
Really?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Thank you for everyone. Just sit tightly. We will have it back up in just 1 minute.
How about this? Can you see anything?
It is not going to presentation mode, but why don't you just try getting to your next slide for
No?
now?
Okay.
All right, try again. Just putting it into
Boy.
presentation mode.
Yeah, I said share my screen, application window,
Probably not. They're trying to move away.
share. Do you see anything? Anything you can see?
I can see the slide. It's just not in
Can you
presentation.
see?
I can see the slide if you want to continue. It's just not in presentation mode.
This one?
I see.
What do you see right now?
I see models, inventor, outdoor unit, inverter, outdoor unit.
Do you see demand control, crankcase heater?
No, I see inverter, outdoor unit.
Do you see?
Slide number 5.
No, this is this is it. All right.
Okay, hold on. Let me
Not a problem.
share again. Sorry about that. Share. Now, do you see anything?
I do not see the
Do you
presentation.
see anything?
No, I do not see the presentation. I just see your folder. Are you sharing your screen? Okay, I see your screen. Try opening up your presentation.
What screen do you see?
I see your folders. I see the name of your presentations.
Do you see the 3 folders here?
Yes, I see the 3 PowerPoints.
Okay, I'm opening the one that we need to
Yes.
share. And I put it in presentation mode now.
Okay.
No?
I do not see the presentation.
Oh boy.
Is it open on your end?
Yeah, it's open on my end and it says sharing.
Do not see it. Can you
And when I say
stop
stop sharing, now it's
Yeah, open up your presentation first and then start sharing. Have it in presentation mode.
okay. I'm sharing it now. Like I do with any.
Stop sharing your screen, open it up, and then reshare your screen.
Okay.
Okay, stop sharing your screen. Just hit stop sharing.
Stop sharing.
Okay, now open up your presentation
Okay.
and then share your screen.
My presentation is open.
Okay, you're not sharing your screen, right?
No. Now I'm sharing. Now should I share?
Yes, now share your screen. Okay. I see slide number 4, but it's not in
Sorry
presentation
about that.
mode. Just continue.
How about now?
It's not in presentation mode.
Do you see? For me, it's in presentation here.
Not on our end.
What do you see right now?
North America multi-split model.
Do you see multi-split inverter heat pump a combination?
No, I see slide number 4.
Oh boy. Something is slow then. So 1, 2, 3, 4. North America multi-split model.
Correct.
What about now? Do you see the next one?
No. Okay. Oh, we just had it. Put it in presentation mode before opening it up.
I did that. So I put it in presentation mode, and now I have it in presentation mode. Then I say share my screen.
Correct. Okay. Perfect.
Do you have anything
We have it back up.
now?
Yes. Thank you for everyone for standing by.
Now,
Yes. Continue. Go back. Just continue.
sorry guys about that technical issue. Okay, let's continue with our 5-zone, our multi-zone, and we are going to talk about the 5-zone. But truly speaking, multi-zone, 5-zone, 2-zone, 3-zone, and 4-zone are all the same. Not same in capacity, but same way in operation. Okay. Unlike our single zone that can operate down to -15, multi-zone can operate down to -5, as you can see here with the model number that -5. Okay. It is the compressor has a what do you call a crankcase heater, unlike the single zone. The single zone does not have a crankcase heater, does not come with a crankcase heater, and the new models that we are selling right now, the Nano X, they also come with a base pan heater that I forgot to mention, the base pan heater. The multi-zone does not come with a base pan heater. If you are installing this unit in a very high humid area, it is important that you put a base pan heater. Okay, guys. Okay, so we have the 5,000, the 7,000, the 9, 12, 18, and 24 indoor units that you can combine with our multi-zone outdoor unit. Make sure whether you put a 2, 3, 4, or a 5-zone, you have to put a minimum of 2 indoor units. A 2 indoor unit that, in this case, which is the 5-zone, has to be above 4.5 to 17 kilowatts. If you do times 3.1, 3.412, that's the conversion you will get into BTUs. Okay. So if you do a 9,000 times 3,412, you will get it in BTUs. So remember, for the 5-zone guys, even though it's calling for 2 indoor units, you can't just pick any 2 indoor units. You got to maintain the minimum and maximum capacity. The minimum in this case is 4.5 times 3,412 BTUs. So if I had to put if I had to pick 7,000, the unit would not work. It would throw me an error because I am not in that range. But if I put 212, I'm already past 4.5, so I'm good. Okay. So guys, please remember, minimum of 2 indoor units on a multi-zone system. Now, guys, this is so much important. If you're a guy who is using multi-zone, in most cases, in most of your jobs, this section or this slide is very, very important. Unlike our competitors, they bring the size of the indoor unit pipe size all the way to the outdoor unit, and they do all the adjustments at the outdoor unit. Adjustments meaning they use a reducer or an expander. In our case, it's different. In our case, all the 5 ports, 2 ports, 3 ports, 4 ports, depending on the multi-zone that you're using, has a 3/8 and a 1/4 inch pipe sizes. 3/8 suction, 1/4 inch liquid. You will take 3/8 and 1/4 all the way to the indoor unit, and when you get to the indoor unit, if it's a 12,000 or an 18,000, you will increase it to 1/2 inch. For 9, 5, and 7, you don't have to do anything because the indoor unit is 3/8 and 1/4. Okay? If you have any questions on that, please write down. We'll talk about it later. For the 24,000, Okay, for the 24,000 indoor unit, you will run half-inch suction line between indoor and outdoor. When you get to the indoor unit, you will increase it to 5/8, and when you get to the outdoor unit, you will reduce it to 3/8. So half-inch is running in between. As for the 12 and 18, it will be the 3/8 all the way and quarter all the way, and you will increase it to half-inch and half-inch respectively. So with every unit that you buy and install, all units have got a maximum pipe length, chargeless pipe length, height difference, and all that kind of thing. I would strongly advise you. This is just a slide to give you or to make you aware that these things are put into practice and they are very important. You have to pay attention to what you can use and how far you can go. And how far you can go before you need to add refrigerant. On a single zone, in most models, it is charged for 24.6 feet. Above 24.6 feet, you need to add. In this 5 zone, the system is charged for 147.6 feet, which means if you cross this pipe length, you need to add refrigerant. And this model, a total of 262 feet is maximum. 82 feet per indoor unit. So you have enough of pipe there to play around. So I don't think ever you will cross 262 feet. Okay, so please keep that in mind. 262 feet is maximum. The unit is charged for 147. After 147, you will have to add 0.2 ounces. That's your height difference there they're talking about. Okay, so in this case, 49 feet when the height between indoor and outdoor unit, and when the outdoor unit is on the upper side, you need to maintain at least 49 feet and below. Height between indoor units, between the last one, which is the bottommost, to the topmost, 22.6 feet. So again, this slide is for training purpose. I would strongly advise you to read the installation manual based on the model you are installing. Okay? Don't tell me, oh, Paul said 49 feet, 24 feet, and that's about it. No. Please remember that you need to pay attention to the model that you're working on. It could be a different model. Okay? All models are not the same when it comes to pipe length and height. Okay? That's your refrigerant cycle. I don't think you can see it well because it's very tiny to accompany all the 5 zones. But bottom line is, these are the indoor units, and that's your outdoor unit section. Okay? Every indoor unit will hook up to A, B, C respectfully. The biggest problem I have from the day multi-zones were introduced, like 20 years ago, from the day it was introduced, I always had issues of cross wiring. And I still have that problem. So guys, when you have that issue, please remember, when you have a cross wiring issue, it is very easy to fix it. How it's easy to fix it? Is turning unit by unit, 1 unit at a time. Don't run all the units together, because when all indoor units are running together, you will not catch the problem. And if you're running them in heat mode, it's even worse, because in heat mode, there is no such an error as cross wiring. Only in cool mode, which is the H39 I mentioned, or the F17, standby during freezing. We'll talk about it later. So please, when you're done with your piping and wiring and everything, commissioning and everything, don't run all units at the same time. Start 1 unit, let it run for 5 minutes, it's giving you nice heat or cold air, then switch that unit off, move to the next one, and to the next one, and to the next one. Once you're happy, once you know you have not crossed any wires or pipes, then you can run them, all of them together. Many guys, they call me, and when I tell them you cross the pipe or you cross the wires, they tell me, but Paul, it ran the whole of winter. Because in heat mode, this error code does not show up. It shows up in cool mode. Those are the sensors that are in that system. So in our single zone, we have 3 sensors outside, 3 sensors inside. With our multi-zone, we have 3 sensors at the inside unit, but we have a bunch of sensors outside. So we have those sensors over there for the pipes, for all the liquid and suction pipes. And then we have sensor for the compressor discharge and other sensors for like the defrost start, the defrost end, and the ambient sensor. That's your wiring diagram. You will see it on your outdoor unit panel. The top panel, you will find this wiring diagram over there. When you have a problem, or when you think you have a problem with a sensor, just open up your app or open up your service manual, and you will see all these values. So take your multimeter, not amp probe. Okay, don't use your amp probe meter. Use your multimeter. It will give you better readings, appropriate readings, correct readings, and compare it to the chart. Okay. Compressor. Many guys will call me and say, Paul, you are telling me the compressor is gone, but my readings are correct. Well, the winding is in good shape, but the compressor got frozen. I mean, got seized. Mechanically got seized. And how we have found out in most cases is when the unit was not charged correctly, or there was a leak and it was not fixed, and the compressor lost all the oil, and the unit kept running. So remember, most of the time, I have yet to see an inverter compressor, especially a Panasonic inverter compressor, shot to ground. All I've seen is a seized compressor. And we have found out in most cases, it's either oversized, the unit have been oversized, or refrigerant was not added when the pipe length was crossed 25 feet. Now let's talk about this PCB, okay? This is the panel outside. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D. This is a 4-zone outdoor unit. So that's your incoming power. That's your zone A, zone B, zone C. Even though we're talking about a 5-zone, but the 5 and the 4-zone PCBs and the terminal blocks will look the same. So when you look at the service PCB, you have many things, you have many features that it takes care of. It can pump down. So let's say the homeowner is not at home and you need to do some work, and the work that you need to do involves pumping down. So you can do a pump down even if the homeowner is not at home. If you call the homeowner and the homeowner said, I'm on my way, I'll take about an hour, you can do at least your pump down, you can start your work, no problem. Open up the outdoor unit, press that button for 5 seconds, pump down begins. But before you do that, make sure you have locked or closed the liquid line. What happens during pump down? The pump down normally is no more than 15 minutes. It all depends on job site to job site. The longer the pipe, the longer it takes to pump down. The shorter the pipe, the shorter it takes. So basically, when you press that pump down button, the unit will run at a fixed compressor switch, fixed the compressor frequency speed. The compressor will run. The unit will operate in cool mode. All the expansion valves will be fully open. All the gas will be collected. into that compressor, make sure you close the liquid line. And once you are getting closer, by the indication of these lights here, as you can see them blinking, 3 minutes remaining, 2 minutes remaining, 1 minute remaining. As it's getting closer to 1 minute, make sure you're ready to close your suction line. And that's about it. You're done. If you need to cancel for whatever reason, if you want to cancel your pump down in between, you can always shut it down by pressing that button again. Test run. Test run is a good feature to use when you have a problem. Let's say you have a leak, or you have a low refrigerant charge, or something is not right that the homeowner is complaining about. Test run is a good option to run the system because the compressor runs at a higher frequency, a fixed frequency, enough of time for you to put your gauges and see where the problem is. If you're low on gas, if you have a problem with the compressor, if you have a problem with the fan motor, or if you have a problem with the indoor unit, or you name it. So we have test run cooling and test run heating. When you press and hold for 5 seconds, you are in forced cooling operation, or test run cooling operation. If you hold it longer than 5 seconds, you get into forced heating test run, which means not the second light, the third light. You can run it in heating, and when my guys have issues, I always tell them to run it in test run, so that way we can get to measure your pressure reading, you get to measure your running amps, and you get to find out what the problem is. Again, you can cancel test run at any time you feel like. Maybe you are in a rush, you don't want to wait for 30 minutes. You can cancel anytime, the test run button again, and you're out. There is another feature there which I have to explain to you guys, but I don't use it. The way of catching this problem, the way of finding this problem is very easy. If there is a cross wire, turn one unit at a time. And that's where you'll find if you cross your wires. But using this wiring check option, it's there, it can help you, but I don't like it because if there is one unit that got crossed, it can rectify that problem. However, if a day comes where you have an outage of more than 48 hours, that memory goes away. Only for wiring check. The rest of the memory stays forever. But for wiring check, it goes away in 48 hours, and now you have a problem. And the worst problem is, why was it running all these years? And all of a sudden it's not. So please remember, if I were you, and I'm talking based on my field experience, if I were you, avoid wiring check option or wiring check feature. But again, if you want to use it, it's there, no problem. I will skip this slide so that we move to the next section. Power save. Power save button is a way of reducing the running amp, reducing the capacity, and obviously it also helps with noise. If it's too noisy, the neighbor is complaining about that, you can flip the power save button, but the problem will be you will not get the maximum efficiency, maximum capacity of the unit. So power save is there. If your unit was oversized for whatever reason, you can use that button. It will reduce the capacity. Then we have the priority mode. The priority mode is given to the indoor unit of the highest capacity. So what that means, the highest capacity is given the priority, even when other units were running. Even when other units were running in heating and you want cooling, and if that unit is the biggest or highest capacity, you can flip the mode easily. But you cannot flip other models easily if the priority mode was in operation. Then, for whatever reason, you bought this heat pump, but you want to run it in cooling only. Maybe you have other source of heating, maybe furnace or a boiler or whatever. You can always cut that jumper at the service board, cut that jumper, and now you are in cooling only. The unit will operate in cooling only. For whatever reason, you want to get back, you can always solder that jumper, and you're back again. Okay? So that was just what our multi-zones can offer you. Our multi-zones, I spoke about 5 zones, but the 2, 3, 4 does the same. Okay? So now let's talk about troubleshooting. Now this troubleshooting is applicable to all the models across, all the Panasonic models that we are selling in the US, whether it's a single zone or a multi-zone. This troubleshooting guide is the same. So let's say H11. H11 applies to both multi or single. And what is H11? H11 is a very common error. And in most cases, during installation, brand new installation, I found out cross wires are causing H11. And if you have this error code down the road, if you have this error code H11 down the road, let's say 3, 4 years down the road, 6, 7 years, I don't know, then you can always use the app to troubleshoot. And trust me, to troubleshoot whether it's the indoor or the outdoor PCB, it's very simple. Use this multimeter. Don't use an amp probe, because the amp probe might lie to you, especially when it fluctuates up and down, up and down. It might give you less readings as compared to the multimeter. Use the multimeter, measure 2 and 3, the way it explains to you on the slide, or the way it explains to you in our app or on our app. All you do is you get rid of the number 3 wire, measure between 2 and 3 on the terminal block. If you're getting fluctuation, you know for sure your outdoor board is good. Your indoor board is a problem. Another way of checking if the outdoor board is bad or good is power the unit off. Wait for about 3-4 minutes, turn it back on. If you do not hear the electronic expansion valves clicking, that means the outdoor board is defective. And you can prove that by using your multimeter. H12 is not common, but in most cases when you use wrong indoor unit on multi-zone, okay? So please keep in mind, when you're buying a multi-zone, you have a different set of indoor units. When you're installing a single zone, you have a different set of indoor units. So please keep that in mind. And if you're not sure, always give us a call. H15, I got H15 just last week after so many years. Like I can't remember when I got last H15. And the guy called me and he told me some kind of insects. I believe there were some rats or mice went in and chewed some wires, and the mice or rats, they were trying to stay warm. And as you know, it's very cold here in Canada. So they were trying to hide themselves, keep themselves warm, and that's what happened. They chewed the wire, and H15 happened. So the guy replaced the thermistor, and everything is up and running. But that was probably my first ever call on an H15. H16, 1 or 2 calls over the years. Compressor was not pumping well. It was number 3. Number 3, compressor defective, low compression. The gauges were not moving. Replace the compressor and up and running. No issues. H27, very rare. Never heard that, but you never know. It can happen. It's the outdoor ambient sensor. H28, it's the pipe sensor. Pipe sensor. H33, in my experience, it's when they were given low voltage, not the wrong models interconnected. I've never had that issue. My issue was they gave wrong voltage. They gave 115 instead of 208. So please keep that in mind. It's there, but very rare. Most electricians, they know what they're doing. So very rare to get these H33. H36 is one of the suction lines having a defective thermistor. Very rare. I will talk about error codes that are very common. This guy here, H97, outdoor fan. I can tell you 99% of this error code was caused by snow. Snow got accumulated inside the unit. Probably the unit was not running. It accumulated. The homeowner was not around. Vacation, came back. The snow got frozen and the blades were not moving. That's one possibility. Another possibility, the unit is not defrosting. So what happens? The unit keeps freezing up, freezing up, freezing up, and the ice keeps building inside and stopping the fan blade. And that's where the problem happens. H97. I have never seen an H97 that killed the board, that blew off the outdoor PCB. I know there are some competitors have this issue. They have this problem. When they have an outdoor fan motor defective due to snow, ice, it takes away the outdoor board as well. Ours, so far, touch wood, it's only the fan blade that got stopped. You switch off the unit, remove all the ice, thaw all the ice, you're up and running. H98 is an indoor high pressure in heat mode. You will not get this problem in cool mode, guys. It's an indoor unit that is creating this error H98. I have noticed when a guy is installing a 5-zone and 5 units are running, no problem. The moment they start switching off all units and operating just one little small unit, now what happens? The condenser, which is the indoor unit, becomes too small. So obviously the surface area is small, and that indoor unit cannot handle the 5-zone condensing unit. So that's when you have the H98. The good thing about the H98, it's a hidden error. It's an error that will not shut down the system unless the indoor unit is super dirty. If the indoor unit is super dirty, the filters are completely clogged, then only the system will shut down. But if the system is shutting down because you're using less indoor unit, H98 will not trip that unit. It will be hidden. If you go and scroll, you might see it there, but the unit is still operating. H99, I have seen that during summertime. A lot of people, they like using dry mode. Dry mode is okay, guys, no problem. You can use dry mode. But remember, you need humidity. You need humidity levels of above 80% to use dry mode. So I would say dry mode is good for tropical areas, hot areas, warm areas, really, really warm. Because guess what? When you are operating the unit in dry mode, and once the humidity levels are under control, the coil tends to get very, very cold because the fan speed is at super low. The indoor fan is at super low. So what happens is the coil gets super cold, and as the temperature gets below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, for at least 3 to 4 times in an hour, your H99 will pop up. So that could be the case if you are telling me the system has no problems with refrigerant. So please keep that in mind. Dry mode, you can suggest to homeowners only if they got good humidity. If they are living in an area where the humidity levels are not that great, then just use cool mode. Cool mode is just fine. 10 speed, keep it at medium, and you'll always be successful with no issues, no errors whatsoever. F11. F11 is a four-way valve issue. Very rare, but it can happen. Recently, I got this error code with one of our single zones, and I don't know who to blame, the factory or the installer. But basically what happened was the four-way valve wire came off the board. So now when I say who to blame, if it was the installer, the wire, the power supply cable that went inside the unit was very close to that wire. When he sent me the picture, that's when I saw it. But I don't like blaming installers, to be honest. Even when I find them at fault, I never like blaming them. I always take the blame. And we move forward, and everybody's happy, and that's it. F17, this is the error code I mentioned to you. You will not see this error code in single zone. You will only see it in multi-zone. That's when you cross the wire. When unit A went to B, B went to C. That's where you'll have the unit freezing, especially when the homeowner turned it off. So the moment you see F17, please keep that in mind. You have crossed the wire. That picture there shows you electronic expansion valve. So sometimes if everything is okay and you don't think you crossed the wire, the electronic expansion valve might be a problem. It's fully open even when the unit is off. So guys, once again, I remind you and I insist that please download the app, Panasonic Air Conditioner Quick Service Guide. It will really help you with all the error codes. Now, when you saw before, we were in the H error code, and now we are in the F error code. So we have only two letters, H as in Henry and S as in Frank. F error codes in most cases are not good because it's either the outdoor unit compressor or the outdoor unit PCB. So if it's the outdoor unit PCB, then that's good. You can always change the whole entire PCB and you're up and running. But if it's the compressor, then it's a long process. So thankfully, our compressors are in good shape. I hardly get bad compressors. Also, I hardly get bad PCBs. Most of the time, my calls would be low refrigerant, low on gas. There's a leak somewhere here and there. And once in a while, obviously, I'll get a bad electronic expansion valve, fully corroded, mostly ocean areas. F91, if you get an F91, definitely 99.9% is number one, refrigerant shortage. Now you could be having a leak or the system is low with refrigerant. Now how low with refrigerant? Again, I'm not blaming the installer. Maybe it came from the factory. Very rare because the factory tells me, and I've been there and I have seen it with my own eyes, they measure, they weigh each and every outdoor unit that comes out of the conveyor belt. Few micro ounces, the unit is kept aside as a defect, and it will tell you what the defect is, low refrigerant charge. So it's very hard to believe that the system came with low refrigerant. What I have noticed is guys are using a lot of nitrogen. And when they use a lot of nitrogen, they push those service valves, the rubber seals. And that's where the R410 tends to escape. So please don't overpressurize the system. 400 or less is more than enough. You see, I have put pictures. These are pictures of guys. The one on the left, he crossed 148 pipe lengths. He was like in the 200, and he forgot to add refrigerant. That's the picture on the left. The picture on the right, the guy says the system came with less refrigerant. I don't know whom to believe. I just told him, please recover all the refrigerant. While you're recovering, weigh it, and he found 2 pounds less. So I told him, please don't use the same refrigerant. Do a deep vacuum and recharge. The same with the third picture. The system was low on refrigerant. So please, if you see this kind of pictures, rest assured that the unit did go into defrost cycle, but got terminated too early. Okay? So if you have a scenario like this on a multi-zone, definitely you are low on refrigerant. And if you paid attention to the picture I showed on the single zone, at the bottom there was a lot of frost. That would be another case. To our good luck, and the quality being so great, I have never seen a Panasonic coil busted so far. Touch wood. I have never seen a coil busted so far. And when I say that, I'm talking based on my experience with other manufacturers or other competitors. F93. If you get this error code, my friend, and the unit is not resetting, compressor is gone. So again, I have not seen this error code, but it's there, and that doesn't mean it will not happen. At some point, at some time, some years down the road, it will happen. And when you get that error code, compressor is gone. But to make sure, if it's the compressor or the inverter PCB, it's important that you invest in an inverter phase checker, just to make sure that the outdoor inverter PCB is sending enough of voltage, enough of balanced voltage to the compressor. So how do you check that? You unplug the wires going to the compressor, plug them into the inverter checker, and if you see all the lights coming on, the PCB is in good shape. Another trick that you can check is the outdoor fan. 99.9%. If the outdoor fan comes on, that means the outdoor PCB is good and the compressor is frozen. Cheese, toast, you name it. So those are the tricks that you will come across as you do a lot of these jobs. As long as you are into this heat pump ductless industry, you'll know what I'm talking about. But if you're doing it on an occasional basis, then it's important that you invest in an inverter checker. It will save you time, and it will give you the correct result. And it will give you confidence in ordering the correct parts. Now again, if your job site is like 2-3 hours drive, if I were you, I would take the outdoor board and the compressor. Start with the outdoor board. If I'm getting the same problem, then I change the compressor. But if it's a job site, just 1 hour or half an hour drive, then I would just go with the outdoor PCB. Compressor discharge, pressure overshoot. Very rare. I've never come across this error code. Again, it's there. It can happen. And anything is possible. F96, once in a while, we had this problem, and it was the power. The IPM power board was not getting good voltage. And if the indoor unit was getting, the outdoor unit was getting good voltage, then I would suspect some kind of blockage at the heat sink. Maybe the coil is dirty. Maybe the heat sink is dirty. So when it comes to F error code, it's either the outdoor PCB, the compressor, the outdoor fan, or the coil being dirty. Just those few things are more than enough. F97, compressor overheating. Most cases when you are low on refrigerant. When you're low on refrigerant, this can happen. high discharge. Very rare to find the two-way valve closed. The service valve is closed. Very rare, because that valve, when it's closed, you will not even, the unit will not even start. It will start. It will try to start and it will stop. Start, stop. So F97, in most cases, it's refrigerant shortage. F99 again, very rare, but it happened once or twice, and it was the power, incoming power was low. Very low incoming power. It was not the PCB. So that doesn't mean it's not the PCB. In your case, it might be the PCB. In my case that I experienced was the incoming voltage was low. So not all the malfunction mentioned here can be the cause. So you always check. The first thing you need to check is your incoming power. Rule that out. Then move to the next stage. Move to the next step. All right, my friends. That brings us to the end of our two segments, multi and single zones. I'm pretty sure you have questions on multi-zones as well. Also, if you have questions on single zones, please fire them away.
All right, Paolo, when you're ready, there's a few questions from earlier.
Yes, go ahead, please, Calvin.
I did not know comp is 3 pH. Is there a rotation?
A rotation. I did not know the compressor was a three-phase. Yes, the compressor is a three-phase, but a maximum of 208 voltage. So when we talk about our inverter compressor or any other compressors, as long as it's inverter driven, it's a three-phase compressor. And if those three wires are crossed, you will have a reverse